Hello beautiful people, welcome back to my channel Monkey Wrench. I'm Kelly, the monkey with the wrench. Today I have a regular customer. You've seen this machine on my channel before. Every couple of months something goes on with it. It's a box store John Deere, and these are great for homeowners, but this guy cuts commercially, and he puts a lot of hours on it, and it is what it is. It's a Z-Track John Deere, the Z335E. And what's going on with it right now is when the blades engage, he put new blades on it the other day, and I didn't have a chance to ask him why he bothered. But then when he went to cut with it this morning, he turned on the blades, and you get an intermittent vibration, a terrible noise. So let me show you what that sounds like. And once I start it, you won't be able to hear me, but you will hear. There's no vibration in the machine until you go to start the blades, and then when that happens, you'll see this. Watch this. Let me make sure the brakes are on. I'm gonna have to get on it to show you. Now, as you can see, it's an intermittent situation, and you could almost see by my fingers that I knew when it was about to happen. Now, I have taken off the blades. One of the blades was put on upside down when he put them on, and I have checked over this whole thing, and I suspect it's going to be a bad spindle, and I'll show you why here in a minute, and I'll show you how to check that. All right, so just a quick interlude as we are getting farther into the fall, closer to the winter here in Florida. Lawn season only lasts about 6 to 8 months depending on the year, and while I love working on zero turns and lawnmowers, we are moving farther into boats. We are going to be doing all things boats, outboard motors, jet skis, you name it. This is the first of the new videos that are coming. This boat has an issue where the battery keeps discharging when it sets for a few days, so we got a short somewhere, and he has taken it to a mechanic who has put 2 different starters on it and could not find the issue. Disconnected the key, put a starter button on there, which is usually the sign that they probably are guessing at what might be wrong. Because this particular guy, he's a good customer of mine. He's who owns the machine we're working on in this video, and he is willing to pay whatever. He loves fishing, and he just will pay whatever it takes to get it fixed. So they can't figure out what the problems are, so we're going to be doing a series of videos on this 18-foot Aquasport with a 70-horse Evinrude. So as the winter time comes, we are moving into boats. Now, we still will be doing lawnmower videos each year when the season comes, and in the winter time and through the summer, we're going to be doing more and more boats. So just to bring you back here to the machine we're working on, I've got it jacked up. And these box store mowers, the decks are so lightweight because they're punched out of thin steel that you can just lift this up. I just lifted it up and put a jack stick under the front of it. All the weight's in the back. Now, you could never do that on something like this 34-inch commercial Gravely because the deck itself weighs about 600 pounds. But in this case, I can pick this up without even stressing myself. So when he came to drop the boat off, I asked him, first, why did you change the blades? And he said because the blades were eaten up, and he had them in the back of the truck, and he gave them to me, and they are, you know, pretty well shot. The blades are all worn out, and they're pretty well shot. And he said before he changed the blades, obviously he didn't have this noise going on, and when he put the new blades on it, the first time he tried to use it, he's got this noise. Now, it could be a spindle problem, but looking at those blades, it doesn't look like he hit anything with it, so he didn't bend the spindle or anything. So for a problem like that to happen, just by changing the blade, you get this new noise. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to pull the brand new blades off. He had one upside down, and I fixed that in front of him. But I'm going to pull those blades off. I'm going to lower the machine back down. I'm going to start it, and I'm going to engage the blades and see if we still have the noise. Then I'm going to lift it back up, put the old blades back on it, start it, and see if we still have the noise. And if we lose the noise during those two exercises, then we know there's something wrong with the new blades. If the noise remains, then we know there's a spindle problem or something else. And there comes the rain. So we're going to work on that. Okay, so it's raining. All I did was take off the brand new blades, which are over here. Let's start it just to see, because I didn't change the belt. I didn't change anything on the spindles. Literally all I did was unbolt the blades and take them out of the way. Let's see if we still have that noise. The noise is gone. When the rain stops, I'm going to pull the front end up again. The brake is on, so the mower can't move, so it's pretty stable. And I'm going to put the old blades back on. And what's going to happen, I think, is that the noise is going to be gone, which is going to tell me that it's not a spindle issue, because the spindles are hooked up. The belt's hooked up to the spindles. I'm not hearing any strange noises. I think we might have a bad blade. So we're going to put the old blades back on and see if it's still making that noise. Well, it's still raining, but sometimes I work in the rain. All I've done now is put the old blades back on. So let's see if it's still making that noise. Now I put the new blades together and they don't look bent or anything, but let's just see if the noise is back with the old blades. Ain't that some bullshit? Clearly, it's a blade problem. If it was a spindle problem, it would still be making that intermittent noise every few seconds. And as you saw earlier in the video, I would move my hand just as that noise was starting because it was coming at a regular pulse. So, when I put the blades together, I don't know if you'll be able to see that, but basically I'm putting the blades together and they're running right along together. I really can't see anything on the blades that's bent or out of shape. The only thing that I could figure is he originally had one blade on correctly and one blade on upside down. Maybe the blades weren't seated correctly. On the top right here on the blade, I don't know if you can see that, but there is the paint's coming off a little. It could be a bad blade. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this thing back up again. Now that I have both new blades on, even though I pulled the one blade off on the left side of the machine that was upside down and put that one on, maybe the blade on the right, which I never removed or touched, just wasn't set properly. There is no star pattern or anything like that. It's just a hole. But maybe the blade just was kind of crooked and jammed with the nut. Maybe that was an issue. So let me pull it back up, swap the blades over, and see if the noise is gone. Some days you're wet with sweat. Some days you're wet with rain. Welcome to Florida. Okay, I've taken the old blades off and put the new blades on. Let's see if it just wasn't seated properly. There is a nub that sticks out off the spindle that goes in the round hole in the blade. And if, when he put it on, he didn't take the time to make sure it was seated properly so that it could go up where it belongs, it would have been crooked down there and jammed. Then it would have been off center, causing that vibration. Now that I know, because I pulled this one off myself, now I've pulled this one off, made sure they were both seated properly. Let's see if the problem still persists. And it does. So, that tells me that there's something wrong with this brand new set of blades. This is not something that I come across very often. Sorry, I'm looking for a towel. I'm covered in wet sand and rain. This is not something that I come across very often. But there is something wrong with one of those blades. And that's just the bottom line. I don't know what it is. The blade could be off balance. He said the blades were brand new. He just bought them and put them on. I think he said Saturday, and today's Monday or Tuesday. And he hadn't cut with it since because it was the weekend, it was the holiday weekend. So there is something wrong with those blades. We know there's nothing else wrong with the deck or the spindles or anything, because without blades, everything was fine, no noise. With the old blades, everything was fine, no noise. New blades, we're right back to that same noise. So I'm going to tell him to get some new blades, and when he gets them here, I will do a final on this video and show you that the noise is gone. Okay, my friends, I've been sitting here. I'm a tenacious dude, and I hate when I can't figure something out. So I've been sitting here trying to figure out why when we put the old blades on, we got no noise, and when we put the new blades on, I don't know if you can even see under here, that we had that intermittent noise. We didn't have it when only one blade was on and that one was off. We didn't have it when this blade was on and that one was off. We only had it when the two blades were on. Now when you install a blade, a double blade system or a triple blade system, you're supposed to install one so that it's forward and back and one so that it's left and right. That way, as they spin, there's no issues. But what we do have for sure is a spindle on the left side that only spins. The bearings are starting to go bad, and the spindle is not spinning at full speed. And what I think was happening is what I found. So what I did was I went ahead and I loosened the bolts that hold this up just enough that I could spin the blade without turning the spindle. And I did the same thing on this side, so I could spin the blade without turning the spindle. And watch what happens when I bring these two together. Look, they're touching right there. They're touching. There is our problem. It's touching. Okay? That tells me one of three things. Either this cheap ass box store thin frame of this deck, at some point he might have run into something and bent it. Okay? Or the bearings are going bad, which is causing this one to wobble just a little bit, so it's intermittently hitting here. And as it drags slower than this one spinning, every once in a while the blades meet up long enough to touch, and then this one keeps spinning 3 times as fast as that one. So it only touches for a second while this one gets more further and this one just keeps dragging. So I just spoke to him, and in order to save some money, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my angle grinder and I'm going to grind about 1/4 of an inch off of both ends of both blades. I'm going to go ahead and take those and cut them and bring them back so that there's about 1/2 inch of space between both of the blades. And then I'm going to put them back on and we're going to see if the noise went away. Okay, so let's see, and I'll show you what I did here in a second. See if that took care of the problem. After 4 hours of checking everything, But the most simple thing, let's see if that took care of the problem. Medea would say, thank the Lord. That was our entire freaking issue. And you may have this issue someday too. What happened? It's possible that he could have hit something and that a spindle got slightly bent when he did. These thin decks just wear out. It could have warped. It could have rusted. The bearing inside of that left spindle we know is wearing out because the left blade is spinning at a third of the speed as the right spindle. Now he's going to change that, but what was happening was that this one was spinning really fast, this one was spinning slow, and because all that makes both of them spin is a single belt, as this one spun faster and faster, it finally caught up where it was hitting here, and then it would cut out and it would go faster and faster until it slowed down enough that it caught it again. Now, the old blades were so worn that there was no chance of touching because there was space, that much space between the two blades. So what I did was I took the grinder and I ground this much. I just ground maybe 1/8 of an inch, maybe less, on both sides of one blade. Enough that they would never touch again, and enough that there wasn't a space between the blades. See, if there's a space between the blades, you'll see a line of grass down the center that you didn't even cut, and that'll drive you nuts because then you'll have to go back and do extra swaths to get rid of that little line of grass. So be sure if you do this, you don't take too much off. Also make sure that you take off an equal amount on both sides of the blade, otherwise the blade will become unbalanced and that will cause you issues. So really all I took off was about 1/16 of an inch, just slightly, a hair's worth. And that was all it was touching. And now the problem is gone. So hopefully it will only take you 30 minutes to watch this video, or you can watch it like I used to watch adult videos when I was a kid and fast forward to the good stuff. And it will only take you a few minutes of watching this video if you have this problem to know how to fix it. He bought these blades at a parts house locally that I do business with and only from time to time have an issue. They might have grabbed the wrong blade, but more than likely a spindle is maybe slightly off center, and that's what was causing the issue. Two blades were touching each other intermittently, and now that problem is gone. So sorry the video is so long. This is for the customer as much as it is for you guys. Thanks for stopping by. Hit the like button. It's somewhere between my chin and my balls. Don't forget to subscribe if you like boat motors, jet skis, boats in general. You're going to love what's coming up. So thanks for coming in. See you soon.